This week when I was preparing for this homily, I came across a story about Mother Teresa. And we all love stories about Mother Teresa, or Saint Teresa now. But anyway, she said when she was a young nun, when she had just joined the convent, she said that she had a message from God that told her that she would never truly know peace until she had surrendered everything. And she thought joining the convent might have been that surrender, right? So she stayed with that community for about 20 years, and then she got the call from God to go and serve the poorest of the poor. So she left. And being she had taken a vow of poverty, and not like some that take a vow of poverty that own all kind of things, Mother Teresa really had nothing. And she was walking on the street one day, and this man walked up to her, and he said, "Sister," he said, "could you help me?" He says, "My family and I haven't eaten in a couple of days." And she was moved with pity for him, and she reached into her little bag, and she took out the money that she had, all but one coin, and she gave it to the man so that he could feed his family. Now, she kept that one coin so that she could eat that day. That was the reason. So she walks down the street a little bit further, and a priest came up to her, and he says, "Sister," he said, "would you have anything that you could give us to help the poor?" So she reached into that bag and took that one coin and gave it to the priest. And she said, "Father, this is my last coin." And he told her, he says, "Well, no, wait." He says, "Don't give me your last coin." He says, "I will get help from someone else." And she says, "No, take it. Jesus will take care of me." And when he walked away, she says that she never felt peace like she did on that day, because she had finally surrendered everything. She had nothing left but her faith in Jesus Christ. Everything else was gone. But realistically, see, we love to listen to stories about Mother Teresa, right? She is such an inspiration to all of us. But realistically, we can't give up everything we have. We have responsibilities. We have all of these things that we have to do. I mean, I have to cut my grass. I have to wash the car. We have to do all of these things that get us through everyday life. I have responsibilities. I have a house. We have to pay electricity. We have all of this stuff. So for Mother Teresa to be able to surrender everything is awesome. But for us, it seems impossible. And today, as Catholic Christians, we have to know that Jesus Christ is calling us to be His disciples. And I just want to share with you, I was thinking if someone decided this morning, he woke up and he said, "You know what, I think I'm going to go to church. I'm going to go see what this whole Jesus thing is about. And here's this gospel," we may never see him again. Because this doesn't sound like a message from the God of love, right? From Jesus Christ, who came here to give us the good news. This doesn't sound like the good news. But the gospel starts out and it says there were large crowds beginning to follow him. And do you think maybe he gave this message kind of to thin the crowd a little bit? To tell those people who were just following along just to follow, that it wasn't that you had to invest more into this relationship with Jesus. That some of those people that weren't true believers were going to leave. I mean, face it, if we stood up here on Sunday and told you, okay, you have to renounce everything you own to be able to come to church, we'd probably never see you again. But you see, what Jesus is telling us in today's gospel is that we have to invest in Him. You see, putting everything else aside, that we focus on our relationship with Him first, above all things. Sure, maybe we can't surrender everything we have because we have all these responsibilities. We have all of these other people that depend on us. But that still doesn't stop us from having that ultimate relationship with Jesus Christ. The two parables in that gospel tell us that we need to sit down and really invest ourselves in that relationship with Him. So that we know that it's because of Him that we are able to do the things that we do. So that we can learn to feel that peace that He has for us. That joy that He has for us. There was a thing on Facebook the other day. It says, why is it that we can't live in peace? We only rest in peace. And I think the answer to that question is because when that time comes, we finally are able to surrender everything. But Jesus also tells us in the gospel that we have to pick up our cross and follow Him daily. See, that cross that we bear is all of those things that we can't surrender. That cross that we bear is all of those things that prevent us from being able to totally surrender to Jesus Christ. But He still wants us to follow Him. He still wants us to ask ourselves that question, am I a true believer? Am I willing to surrender everything I can to follow Him? To get rid of those things that are not so important in life. Sure, it's important to cut your grass. But not until we prayed first. The most important thing in our life is that relationship with Jesus Christ. And you see, He set an example for us just like Mother Teresa does, because He surrendered everything so that we could live. He surrendered everything so that we could experience peace and joy. There's a few phrases that I repeat pretty often, and I always say that I'm going to keep repeating them until they catch on, right? And that phrase was one that I heard a while back, and it says, just when I think I've surrendered everything, He asks me for something I'm not ready to give up. What is it that Jesus Christ is asking us for today? What is it that Jesus Christ wants us to remove from our life because it's interfering with our relationship with Him? Whether it be a good habit or a bad habit. What is it that Jesus Christ wants from us? The ultimate thing He wants from us is our love for Him. The ultimate thing that He wants from us is our relationship with Him, to be the first and foremost in our lives. That we can share our lives with Him and share that life with everyone else. Because our nation needs someone to share Jesus with them. Are we ready to become His disciples? Are we ready to start listening and following and learning more and more about who He is and how much we need Him in our lives? Are we ready to surrender to Him who surrendered everything for us? Jesus Christ is asking us to become His disciples. Jesus Christ is asking us to surrender those things that are less important in our lives so that we can feel His peace, His joy, His love. And when we do all of that, those people in our lives will know that we love them that much more, because that love comes directly from Jesus. So He's asking if we're still willing to follow Him, if we're still willing to surrender to Him. And just when I think I've surrendered everything, He asks me for something I'm not ready to give up. Are we brave enough to give up what He's asking for? Are we brave enough to surrender?